This is hopefully what you can start with when you're miking up your kit in your room. I'm using only 4 microphones. I'm using what's called the Glyn Johns technique. Glyn Johns was an engineer predominantly around in the 1960s who engineered all sorts of great bands, including The Who, Stevie Winwood, Eric Clapton, the Rolling Stones, all sorts of others. He pioneered a mic technique which uses 2 overheads and 2 close mics. The overheads, to start with, is one right above the snare drum. So we're looking at, well, the standard one is 2.5 sticks or so above the snare drum. In this case, it's 40 inches. I'm using a 414, which is a large diaphragm condenser, which picks up the kit in a really nice way. The second overhead is this way. I'm using this relatively cheap ribbon mic here. It sounds great. It is about a foot or so above the floor tom, pointing at the hi-hat. It's the same distance away from the center of the snare drum as the microphone above it. So I've measured it as being 40 inches from the center of the snare drum, in the same way that this is 40 inches from the center of the snare drum. Then we've got 2 close microphones, one on the snare drum, one on the bass drum. On the snare drum, I have an SM57, and on the bass drum, I'm using the D112, the AKG D112, just sitting outside of the bass drum woofer. Now I'm going to play the drums and explain to you the processes that I used inside the computer to get the sound that I got.
Remember that the key to getting a good sound is playing the drums well, tuning them in a way that suits the music, and putting the mics in the right places. First, the bass drum.